In the flicker of a dim gaslight, a hidden ledger snaps shut, a ledger soaked in blood, numbering lives reduced to abstractions. John D. Rockefeller did not simply build an empire, he built a labyrinth, cold, precise, inescapable. What if I told you that every thread of your existence still tangles in his invisible web? The oil-black ink from his contract seeped through time, transmuting into the circuits of modern finance. A dinner, silent, opulent, where he whispered a single word, monopoly. That night, the invisible chains tightened, and the world's freedom fell beneath his calculation. A drop of oil falls onto parchment, blooming like a black sun. Beneath, Rockefeller's name, signed with the precision of a surgeon carving flesh. That ink, they say, bound nations. But in his mirror, he saw not power, only the hollow eyes of his own design. Beneath the gaslight's flicker, a ledger, its pages breathing, groaning under the weight of empires. Each number, a life priced and sold, a soul quantified. Rockefeller, cloaked in shadow, hummed a hymn to nothingness. The ink whispered back, more. His desk, a cathedral of mahogany, bore the weight of blueprints not for industry, but control. Beneath his nail-bitten fingers, a map bled red rivers, carving boundaries. Rockefeller whispered, divide the world, and own the pieces. The air thickened, suffocating reason itself. A clock, faceless and eternal, ticked in reverse above Rockefeller's head. Each chime unwound the world's innocence, second by second. His gaze, a scalpel, dissected trust from opportunity. In his hand, a coin, polished smooth, engraved not with liberty, but submission. Beneath a moonless void, Rockefeller's shadow stretched unnaturally, engulfing a silent congress of faceless marionettes. Strings, invisible yet unbreakable, rose to his hand. He smirked, a puppeteer untethered by morality, choreographing nations into dances of debt and despair, all to a song only he could hear. In the hollow core of a dying star, Rockefeller stood unburned. His breath, black smoke, coiled and seeped into the roots of the earth. Nations knelt, their crowns dissolving into ash as his whispered creed etched itself into the marrow of mankind's future. Under a sky split by veins of molten gold, Rockefeller's veins pulsed with a currency not of coin, but of time itself. He held the hourglass of humanity, tilting it slightly, spilling futures into his grasp, each grain a stolen choice, a silenced rebellion. Deep beneath the fractured crust of the earth, a chamber pulsed, lined with gears forged of bone and obsidian. Rockefeller's shadow moved across its walls. He was neither man nor spectre, but the architect of a labyrinth where free will dissolved into vapor. In the silent sanctum of a colossal clock, its pendulum carved from obsidian and sinew, Rockefeller stared into the void. Time fractured, revealing a truth: every system he built was a cage, and every cage, an echo of his eternal, unquenchable hunger. Beneath an iron sky where stars bled silver, Rockefeller's hand hovered above a blackened ledger. Ink seeped into the parchment like veins through flesh. Each name recorded was a soul sold to eternity, a pact sealed in shadows. The system grew, devouring its creators whole. In the abyss of his labyrinthine vault, veins of molten gold pulsed like a living heart. Rockefeller whispered to the shadows, every empire needs its sacrifice. Beneath his feet, the foundations of the world trembled, built on bones no history dared name. As oil-slick shadows dripped from cathedral ceilings, a clock with no hands ticked, each chime a silent scream. Rockefeller's reflection wavered in a mirror of obsidian, his pupils two eclipses. Time itself, it seemed, was his to command, binding generations in chains unseen. Beneath a vault of fractured starlight, a pendulum carved from an infant's cradle swung above Rockefeller's desk. Its shadow sliced the room into eras yet to come. A ledger lay open, inked not in black, but in the crimson signatures of forfeited souls. In an abyssal chamber lit by the breath of caged fireflies, Rockefeller's quill hovered, a serpent poised to strike. Beneath his hand, parchment writhed like living skin. Each stroke of ink traced a labyrinth, an empire of wealth where every exit led back to him. Underneath a cathedral of petrified roots, Rockefeller stood before a mirror graven from obsidian. The reflection moved first, its mouth spilling a deafening symphony of gold coins cascading into a bottomless pit. Behind him, shadows whispered, he sold time itself. Within a cavern of collapsed constellations, Rockefeller carved symbols into glass that bled silver tears. Each incision foretold a future where clocks devoured their own hands. The air trembled as he whispered, "Debt is the leash, freedom's shadow, the mirage they will chase forever." In a chamber where the walls pulsed like living veins, Rockefeller knelt before a gold sundial spinning counterclockwise. Each rotation birthed a spectral figure, faceless and chained, murmuring forgotten debts. His laughter shattered like glass, echoing, "I am the architect of their endless return." Under a cathedral of inverted roots, Rockefeller's shadow stretched into infinity, cradling a quill forged from bone. With a single stroke, he signed a pact, and the earth groaned, every coin a heartbeat, every debt a lifeline tied to his name. In a cavern where the air reeked of molten ink, Rockefeller's breath summoned an Ouroboros of molten gold. It spiraled upward, inscribing invisible runes across the sky. Each rune, an unseen contract, bound generations yet unborn, their futures tethered to his inexhaustible hunger. Beneath a screaming mosaic of fractured stars, Rockefeller pressed his palm against a clockwork monolith. The machine exhaled an ancient fog, each particle a bargain whispered in forgotten tongues. Time itself fractured, enslaved, as the first debt became the first chain of eternity. In the marrow of a hollowed mountain, Rockefeller knelt before a crimson lattice of veins pulsing with liquid contracts. His whisper lit the veins aflame, birthing a symphony of screams. Each note, an empire rising, a soul devoured, a world rewritten. A clock of obsidian suspended in a void struck 13. With each chime, a chain of liquid mercury slithered through the spines of laws, turning ink to blood. Rockefeller's shadow multiplied, each silhouette a doctrine, each movement an unspoken mandate shaping the invisible prison. Underneath a cathedral of shattered constellations, Rockefeller's breath carved glyphs into the air, contracts unseen, binding the atoms of thought itself. A silent scream erupted from humanity's collective unconscious as their dreams calcified into gilded cages, each bar a memory rewritten, each lock a sacrifice forgotten. And so, the system endures, a labyrinth of invisible chains forged in the fires of ambition and cloaked in the shadows of progress. Rockefeller's legacy transcends time, etching itself into the marrow of existence, where every decision, every hope, every rebellion is subtly bent toward the unseen will of the machine he ignited. The question remains, can you see it? Or has your perception already been rewritten? To unshackle your mind, you must confront the forbidden truths hidden in plain sight. Subscribe now to join the hunt for answers they don't want you to find. Sound effect, sub button click.